In today's video, we're going to test a set of different kid swords for their durability and appropriateness for play. With the intent of giving a kid a sword, being that they're likely to want to battle with it, the criteria I'm evaluating today are: first, which should always be a priority, safety in stabbing, piercing, and striking. We don't want anyone getting injured. And second, what is the blade and handle's strength and durability? For the test, we have 4 different types of swords that you can see on your screen. All were purchased from Walmart or Party City, locally to me, except for the cardboard army sword. So from left to right on your screen, you have a space sword, the Black Knight sword, a pair of katanas, and the cardboard army short sword. All 4 of the swords are similar in their blade dimensions, varying from about 16 to 19 inches in the blade. All of the retail purchase swords are made of different types of plastic, some harder or softer, weaker or stronger than the others. The cardboard army sword is the only one made in the USA, with all the others being made in China. Now, let's get started with the first test. So the first test we're going to do is using a spaghetti squash to test the piercing ability of the different swords. So standard spaghetti squash, I actually was playing with it already with one of the swords. You'll get to see that in a minute. But this is from my garden, and it is, relatively firm. It's a spaghetti squash. So the first one we'll try is the space sword. I don't really expect this to do much of anything because if you see the tip, it's rounded. So, yep, that one's fine. Again, we don't want something to be able to pierce because this is meant to be a toy to play with and actually use to battle. So, yeah, piercing, not great. Okay, next one is our katana. So again, same with a katana, rounded tip. Yeah, nothing much. And that one's fine. Next, we will do our cardboard army sword. Again, cardboard army sword, rounded tip. It's not intended to pierce, and it doesn't, just as we would expect. And finally is the Black Knight sword. Now, this one is a little more worrisome. You'll notice it has a pretty sharp tip, and, well, let's just see. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even left-handed, using my left hand, and that went right in. So I would not recommend this for actual play if you're worried about getting poked. Okay, for our next test, we're going to use our spaghetti squash friend again. This time, though, we're going to be testing the edge of the swords because if you strike another opponent with the sword, you, as a play toy, don't want it to, again, do any damage or be too painful for them. So we'll have a couple different tests for this, but this first test is going to be using the spaghetti squash. So let's start off with our cardboard army sword this time. We're going to strike the spaghetti squash. Yep, nothing, no damage to the spaghetti squash. Again, now we'll do the katana. So notice the difference in sound. This plastic's pretty hard, so you'll see in one of our other tests, I think we're going to have some issues with this, but it doesn't really do any damage to the spaghetti squash. Our space sword, pretty soft. Sounds like it's about to fall apart, but yeah, it's not really doing any damage. And then finally, again, our Black Knight sword. Pretty sharp profile on this. It's hard plastic, and yeah, that's... can't really see too much. There are a couple little lines you can see, but it is quite hard, and again, I would not want to get hit with this, and I will be hitting myself with this, so we'll see how much it actually does hurt here in a minute. But yep, again, Black Knight sword, would not give this to my kids to play battle with. Okay, so my final and least favorite test is going to be actually on a human. So this is me, this is my hand. Hello. I'm going to hit myself in the palm of the hand and the back of the hand just to show you how these blades would do if you were to strike another individual on the hand. But this is meant to give you an idea of how they would work on really any part of the body. So I'm going to start with something easy, and this is our space sword. Again, you'll see this is like a hollow plastic tube. So I don't really think this is going to be too much. So a couple strikes, nothing real, no real big deal there. All right, now the next one we're going to go is the katana. Katana is a pretty hard plastic, so I'm not really happy about this one, but we'll just go ahead and... Ow. I'm just going to do one. That's quite painful. I would not recommend that to anyone. Now, again, this is going to be my least favorite, I'm sure, and that is the Black Knight sword, but we'll just go ahead and do this for science. Yeah, that very hard plastic, very small edge. This is going to hurt a lot. Ouch. do not recommend that either. Now, to something that I know is going to be a little bit nicer on my hand. That's going to be my cardboard army sword. Go ahead, strike. Yes, I can feel it. Yes, it's not pleasant, but it definitely isn't going to be doing any damage, and much nicer than any of those swords, with the exception of the space sword. That one's fine. The next test we're going to do, though, is going to test a little bit of the durability of these swords. So I think we will find some interesting things using the plastic swords. All right, for a final test of the swords, I'm going to test their durability to striking. So the idea of a sword, of course, is that you can battle with it and have fun, and it will remain intact. So that's going to involve striking other swords, shields, and things. Now, what I've done to make this as fair as possible, because you can't really tell how hard I'm hitting something, so what I've done is I've marked the center point of each of the blades. I've measured them and marked the center point of each blade. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang weight from a bag on the center point and see the blade's deflection. And we'll work up from 3 pounds to 6 pounds, 10 pounds, maybe more. We'll see how they do. But I have a feeling we're going to see some failures pretty quickly, just given the integrity of some of the swords as I've seen so far. But we will start that here in a minute. But just to give an idea, you're going to be pushing on this sword, and this is a very gentle push, and you'll already see some of these, like there's some deflection. You can see the handle opening up on this one, and I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on there. A few of the others, we'll start with this, again, our Black Knight sword, and again, a little bit of pressure on the end. It's bending pretty significantly. The Katana, I think we're going to see, well, let's do this way to be fair. Yeah, that's probably not going to go too far. And finally, again, our cardboard army sword, which I happen to know is quite deflection resistant. You can't even see anything, and I'm putting much more pressure than those other ones. So we'll see how this goes. I don't even know how the cardboard army sword is going to do in this test, how much it's going to hold, but we'll find out together. Okay, so for the first test, we're going to start with our 3-pound weight. Put that in my bag. We'll line up the handles, and let's start with the space sword. So take the space sword, hold this, put it on the line, put these together, and yeah, there's a pretty good amount of deflection. It hasn't broken, so good on it. So we'll move on to the next one and see how it does. All right, let's go with the Black Knight sword for our next test. Same thing, it's still our 3-pound weight. Put that focus on that centerpiece, and again, good amount of deflection, but no breakage. So try the Katana. We're going to go against the edge of the blade, what I guess you could call the edge of this blade, just to kind of make it the same, because it is unidirectional. A little worried about this one already. Well, that is about to break. I don't think it's going to last much longer, but there's our Katana. And now we'll try the cardboard army sword. Same thing, put it all on there. And I don't know if you can see this, but yeah, nothing really happened in the cardboard army sword. Okay, step it up a little bit. Let's put our second weight in here. So now we're going to have 6 pounds of weight in the bag. And let's start with the Katana, because I'm thinking this is probably going to die here. Didn't seem like it was going to go much further. So we'll go 6 pounds, and let's see, just a little bit. Let's put all the weight on there. It's not quite dead, but pretty darn close. So yeah, anything more, I think this one's going to die. All right, next, let's do the Black Knight. Black Knight sword, 6 pounds. Oh boy, same thing. That is about to burst. Now the space sword. Okay, I don't know about this either. This one's looking like it's about to break in half. Oh, barely. It's barely holding on. And finally, let's grab again our cardboard army sword. We will go ahead, and there we are. 6 pounds. Again, I don't even see deflection on this, to be honest. Little, squishing on the edge, which I would anticipate, but I mean, definitely not the same as those other ones. All right, I don't want them to all fail right away, so I'm going to step from these 6. I'm just going to take up 1 pound. So I have to have a 7-pound weight here. Put this in the bag. Let's see if we can get 7 pounds out of any of these. Kind of straighten my katana up a little bit, see if it's going to live through 7 pounds. So, katana, 7 pounds. And, I mean, I'm going to call that a failure. That's not going to last. Let's go Black Knight sword now. Same deal, Black Knight. Oh, boy, that does not like it. Okay, Black Knight, I mean, it's still alive, technically. All right, Space Sword. I'm gonna try to just lift it off the table this time. Let's see what we're gonna do, because I don't really want this to go crashing, so. Well, all right, well, it's there, it's alive. It's alive, barely. Okay. Now let's do the same with our cardboard army sword. And here we go. Again, I mean, it's pretty darn good. Okay. Well, next it's going to be 10 pounds. So I'm going to take my 7 that I already have. It's in here. We're going to add 3 more. Bringing these to 10. I would be surprised. Boy, I'm going to be surprised at a few of these swords if they can do this. I don't think they will. Kind of want a big dramatic crash, but again, I don't want to break anything on my table either. So here we go. Katana, 10 pounds. Nope, that is not doing it. The katana is dead. Okay. Black Knight sword, 10 pounds. And let's give it a try. And, oh, yep, that's a failure. Black Knight sword is done. And all right, Space Sword, which has kind of surprised me, honestly, as much as it almost breaks every time, it hasn't quite broken yet. So let's give the Space Sword a chance here. And, yep, okay, yep, that would be the Space Sword. Now it's a space whip, I guess. All right, finally, let's see our cardboard army sword. The hardest part of this is going to be just holding onto the sword, because I think this is probably going to do it. Let's see. All right, 10 pounds, and there we go. For those who might not be willing to believe it. All right, now just for kicks, I'm going to go. We're going to put the 3 more in here, go to 13 pounds, and see if we can do it. Probably not going to test this to failure unless it happens to fail now, but because I don't have any more weights. But 13 pounds is quite a bit this far out on the sword. So, okay, let's see how we do. 13 pounds. There we go. We did it. And, I mean, not bad. All right, so there we go. We've now broken 3 swords, and the only survivor is our cardboard army sword. Hopefully this has given you all some insight into the differences between kids' swords that are available. Now we of course firmly believe that cardboard army products are in a class of their own by promoting healthy minds and bodies while producing a fun, durable, and safe product. So please like our video and follow us on YouTube and other social media, and let us know if there are any other tests you'd like to see or swords you'd like us to compare against, because we are always open to suggestions. Take care and see you on the next video.